So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self-Storage Show. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross in the Self-Storage Show. Today's episode, we're going to continue the Storage Spotlight series. I have Stephen Sandecki on. He's a CMO over at Store Space Self Storage. How's it going, Stephen?
It's going good. How about yourself?
Good, good. I know you're a busy man, so I'm glad you're able to take a few minutes and hop on here and chat a little bit about what a CMO does. And I realized I've never talked to anyone in that position before, so I'm glad you were game.
Yeah, no problem. Excited to talk about it.
Good. Well, kind of before we jump into that, I guess, first off, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you found yourself in the storage industry.
Yeah, no problem. I've actually been in storage since about 2003.
Oh,
Actually, my grandfather had opened up a couple storage facilities in southern Illinois and in northern Illinois, and I was recruited out of high school to help them with him. And that was my first dive into storage, working as a store manager, working on doing some of the traditional marketing stuff that was going on back then, and just kind of move forward from there.
I always like the stories when people start as a manager and then they work their way up. It's always a different perspective on the position on the industry when you've started as a manager. So I always like to hear that. I did the same thing, same kind of route. So many years ago as a storage manager.
Yeah, when you understand kind of what happens at the store level, kind of everything that floats up makes a lot more sense. You can make a lot smarter decisions on expectations and what can really happen and be done at the store level when you've actually lived it because you understand reality.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's one thing people talk about, marketing and procedures and thing. But yeah, it's a little different on the boots on the ground. You're behind that desk and answering that phone. So glad to know you have that perspective. So anyway, I guess kind of first off, CMO. What is that position, and kind of tell a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, when I explain it to other people, I always say kind of the marketing and the sales stuff, just kind of the buck stops with you, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, you're driving the overall strategy and growth for the company that you work for. You're kind of giving direction. You're trying to figure out costs, budgets, and ultimately, you're trying to guide your team as it kind of flows upwards. Because I always think as C-level positions as really an upside down pyramid. You're at the bottom and your team kind of floats to the top, right? Because they're the ones that are making it happen. And you're really just trying to figure out what is the best way for my company to move forward from a digital or traditional marketing perspective. And how do I do it with the budget that's been allocated to me? And also identify different strategies that make sense.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, trying to work around the almighty budget. That's always fun. So you got to make sure. Well, then again, that's part of your position too, is trying to make every dollar spent. Get your ROI and making sure the strategies are actually working, and getting the phone to ring. So that's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, you end up being the guy who has the biggest expense line item next to acquisition.
Yeah. Yep. No, exactly. So I just kind of curious. I mean, like with store space, you guys have a pretty big portfolio. I mean, I'm not too familiar with it. Like, how big is your guys' portfolio right now?
So right now we have about 26 properties,
Okay.
either owned and managed or under purchase agreements. We started about a year and a half ago. That was started by Rob Consalvo and Chris Harris. They were actually two people who were key stakeholders in the iStorage portfolio sale to National Storage Affiliate in
Yeah, yeah.
2016. And Rob was working a little bit with Zora, that's at Storage Rentals of America, and then him and Chris kind of came back together and decided to get back into storage because we all know how much fun storage is, and ultimately, I kind of met up with them and made a decision that I would love to help them with their idea and dream that kind of about probably 8 months after they started it. And here we are today.
Oh, sweet. Well,
Probably, and I like to consider us probably one of the leaders in technology. We've done a lot of cool things in the last year that some companies spend many years trying to do through just, investment and hiring really smart people and leveraging past experience. So we're doing a lot of cool things that, we're trying to basically change the tone of storage, right? We're trying to break the black box. We're trying to get out of, well, this is what everybody else does, so I should do this too. We want to be unique, and we think we're hitting those goals pretty successfully.
well, now I gotta ask. So, what's some of the unique things that you guys are putting out there to make yourselves different?
Yeah, so I mean, without getting too much into proprietary stuff,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Rob and Chris will throw me off the bridge.
Of course.
We're doing a lot of progressive stuff with our website. Um, you
Cool.
know, we made the decision when we were going to build the store space website. Our goal wasn't to build a website that would win the best design of the year. We want to win the award of the highest conversion rate of all self-storage websites.
Yep.
So we went back to the kind of KISS model where we said, look, all we got to do is give people the right information they want at the right time, and they will do the actions that we want them to do. And that includes showing units, pricing, and promotions in the most effective way, making searching for storage facilities very easy, making very, very friendly UIs, either with our reserving process or rent online process or a customer making a payment online. And we've seen a lot of lift from doing that.
No, in fact, as you were mentioning, I was just looking at your website right now, and you're exactly right. It's step one, step two, step three. That's what I like. Make it easy.
Yeah, and one of the other things we also focused on is speed and performance. Our goal was that every page on our website should load in less than 2 seconds on a mobile device on 4G. We've achieved all those benchmarks, even with all the additions that we've been doing over the last couple of months. And that's our goal, right? To change the storage industry through technology innovation. I mean, even beyond that, we built our own proprietary call center platform. We've basically unified all of our telecommunications under one provider. So that doesn't mean if it's a store phone, the VoIP app that a district manager uses, if it's a call center agent using one of our platforms to make a call, somebody calling a tracking number, corporate person on the phone,
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter. It's all unified in one spot. So we have a lot of data in one place that's very accessible and mineable that allows us to make some very intelligent decisions. On top of that, we turn what costs to store to $300-400 a month to only $50 or $60 a month.
Wow. You can scale that. You can say, I love technology. When you're able to scale like that and reduce your costs, would actually get better service. That's the whole point of a technology. You can actually leverage it like that. So glad to hear when it works out that way. It costs less than versus when it did a few years ago, and it was a lot more cumbersome to do a tenth of the things we can do nowadays. So anyway, just as far as like for your marketing dollars and all that kind of thing, I mean, I would assume obviously most of your effort and time and energy is to for online conversions and you're kind of boosting that as much as possible.
Yeah, our two main focuses right now is search engine optimization,
Sure.
basically getting as high as we can in organic rankings and the map packs as well. Also, on the flip side, doing search engine marketing, which most people know as paid search on Google and Bing.
Sure.
Our goal right now is to bring as many qualified eyes as possible to the store space website. And it gets lost on a lot of people, right? People will say, "Well, hey, look, my search engine traffic has gone up 50%." I'll say, "Well, what if your leads and conversions gone up?" "Oh no, that stayed the same. I'm just getting more traffic." And I said, "Well, but that's the point. You need qualified organic traffic, not just any old stuff that you start ranking for that may or may not actually result in somebody renting a storage unit." So our big focus is really on generating qualified organic and paid leads, and it's really started to pay off for us dramatically. We are reaching lead levels that normally you would see if you had 50, 60 facilities, with only 18 to 20 currently being actively used to generate leads. So it's really been powerful for us. It's actually an interesting problem. We're having a problem contacting all our leads next to trying to generate them. So it's an interesting position to be in where we're generating so much that our problem has shifted towards not how do I generate leads, but now how do I fulfill each one and contact them and make sure I nurture them appropriately.
That's a good problem to have. You don't hear that too often in the storage industry. That sometimes it's like, okay, what's going on? They're just twiddling their thumbs. So no, if you're getting that many leads, hey, you're doing something right.
Yeah, and it goes back to what I just mentioned earlier. You got to be different, right? If you try to do what everybody else is doing, you're only going to get the same results. I think the definition of insanity is defined as trying to do the same thing over and over again, but getting the exact same
Uh,
results. So we wanted to break out of that, and just through technology and really progressive digital marketing, we're starting to set a lot of new standards, at least for us internally, of what we define as success and acceptable.
exactly. And as I said, when it comes to online and online marketing, you always have to be up on it. I've seen some people that just, kids worked in the past. They just kind of do the same old, and aren't very innovative anymore or really delve into it much more anymore. And they just kind of think, oh, yeah, I'm ranking. That's all good. But I mean, hey, you got your finger on the pulse of that. If you don't keep up on that kind of thing and being kind of pushing the envelope on technology, yeah, someone's going to leap you, kind of like what you're doing. So you're going to have a competitor that's going to
Yeah,
be, coming out there and doing something different. So you got to be mindful of that.
yeah. What I always explain to people is when they're saying, "Hey, Stephen, what should I be doing to improve my organic rankings? Like, what SEO technique should I be using?" It's all about thinking ahead. You have to be progressive and you have to be able to adapt to changes. Lots of new stuff is discovered and or announced by Google, sometimes on a monthly basis, where they're saying you should do this and now you shouldn't do that. At the end of the day, you got to think ahead of where I need to be and not worry about where you are right now. I've been using that strategy for over a decade, and it's worked very, very successfully. If you get too stuck on reading articles from 7 years ago or going on forums or a bunch of random people you've never met before talking about things that you should or shouldn't do, you really have to ask yourself, would you do the same thing if you were researching for a doctor? Let me just go look on a random forum and see what people are saying, or let me look at an
Mm-hmm.
article about this doctor from 15 years ago. The goal is to be progressive and adaptable. And when you could do that, you could do anything, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot of the core stuff that's behind search engine optimization. A lot of people don't realize it's common sense at the end of the day. Stop worrying about how do I rank my pages. Worry more about how do I make pages that are so amazing that this is what Google would want to show search users so Google can provide that searcher the best experience possible. It's the reverse effect. Google wants to show the best search results, so it keeps people clicking on ads at the
Yeah,
end of the
yep.
day that they're showing in those search results, and they're going to do that by showing the searchers what they think is the best user experience possible. When you start looking at it like that, you start to change a lot of the things that you do. You start thinking, well, wait a minute, I should be building web pages for humans and not for search engines.
Yep, exactly. It's all about the user experience. I mean, as long as you have that in mind of making it easy on the user, your customer, and having a nice experience, that's what Google wants. They will reward you for exactly that. So, yep, I definitely can see where you're coming from on that. Totally curious, since you're obviously the marketing guy and know all about Google. This just came across me the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of geeking out on it. All the changes and updates on the Google My Business listings. Uh, I'm sure you've kind of seen some of those things that have come out. So I've been trying to do some of that for my own clients on getting their Google My Business optimized because Google is always changing, and they've kind of revamped a lot of different things on those account listings.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that recently came out in the last couple of months that a lot of people aren't aware of, and really affects a lot of the paid search stuff, is that you see a lot of that Google has moved towards the paid ad in the map pack. There used
Yep,
to be three, now there's four, and the first one's a paid ad.
yep,
A lot if you don't set your AdWords number inside of Google My Business, when they call that number, when they go to your listing on Google Maps, they're just going to call your regular defined number, and you're not going to know that person came from pay per click. So then you're going to be making decisions on, well, I'm not getting that many calls from these campaigns for paid search. Oh, maybe I need to do something different. But in reality, think of how many people actually call now a business using the map pack. When we made that change, we saw 30% more data that we didn't even know existed, because now we were able to see it tracked through call tracking. And the way our systems are designed, either via the website or via the call center, or even via at the store, when they input those reservations or do those ultimate rentals, because they call from that tracking number, we can associate it back to that it was Google paid search, that it was this campaign with this ad group, with this keyword, and it allows us just to be a lot more smarter on what is working, what isn't working. Because if you're only playing with half a deck, let's be honest, it's going to be hard to win the game.
Yep, exactly. And again, it's all about the data. You have all the data in the world, but if you don't know how to have it organized and targeted, well, then you're kind of just shooting in the dark. And so I've seen, different kind of people like that. They're like, oh, look at all these leads I got. But until you can drill down and know exactly where it came from, well, you don't know what you're talking about. So just like what you're just talking about, how you were able to track it down and know it came from the map ad, that's huge. I'm excited for myself to do those kind of things, because when you have the right data in front of you, you can make such better educated decisions. To move forward on what you're going to be focusing on to ultimately get the phone to ring and to get the rental.
Well, not even that. You could save a lot of money.
Oh
I've
yeah.
worked with a lot of large, very smart operators where I'll go into their Google Ads account and start doing a little my mining process.
Yeah.
To unfortunately have to show them 40% of the money you spent was just wasted on irrelevant search terms and irrelevant clicks. And, here we are. So it also comes down to just being smarter with your money. At the end of the day, if you're leasing up a property and you could spend $5,000 in a market have your ad showing every time, and you could generate leads consistently every single day where you're getting the biggest bang for your buck, and you can lease up your facility 6, 8, 9 months faster by doing that for 3 to 4 months. When you think of what you're offsetting in out-of-pocket operating and debt costs, who wouldn't do that? But I see a lot of people still in this stuck mindset of, well, I only want to spend $500, or I want to spend $1,500. And I think the industry has gotten stuck in not seeing the data and not being able to properly identify what is and what isn't working, and ultimately tracking it from cradle to grave to be able to feel comfortable saying, sure, I'll spend $2,000 because I generate 40 more leases a month that cost me only maybe $125 an acquisition. So at the end of the day, the more you know about what you're doing and the better you could track your data, and the more you go from cradle to grave of, this customer came from here, talked to the call center, they talked to the store manager, they came in on this date, they rented this unit for this amount of money, and then maybe fast forward 18 months later, okay, the customer moved out, they paid this much over this amount of time, so ultimately my acquisition cost was X, and Y was my total return.
Oh yeah, and it's so funny if you just total 10,000 foot view here, but just the simple fact of having some owners that I've gone through just to teach them what a lifetime value of a customer is, just that one simple metric helps change so many different things, because then they start putting two and two together of, okay, if I put this money in to generate the lead and I'm going to get this money out at the end of the day with the lifetime value of that customer, okay. And it's made so much easier on certain marketing campaigns if you give them the right data. And so, no, you guys are doing fantastic as far as what you're doing for tracking and marketing your data. And yeah, it's obviously it's paying off for you guys. So congrats, you're working your butt off, and that's paying off.
Yeah. I have to give a lot of props to our team that's out there, both on the technology development side and the operations and marketing. They're all working real hard to realize a lot of the stuff we're trying to do. As easy it is to talk about what we do, actually making a reality, you lose a lot of hours of sleep and quite a few brain cells, get a few new gray hairs. But at the end of the day, you could build something that's awesome, right? And you could prove it out. And like you said, with lifetime value, when I watch people try to calculate that, I cringe sometimes, right? They don't think of backing out concessions. They don't think of backing out some of these other things that you really should probably take out of the total cost. If you give somebody the first month free and they stay 12 months, you really only got 11 months plus the admin fee, right? Even though you might benchmark it against rent times 12 equals
Yeah.
lifetime value, that's actually not really what it is. So, by really getting in there and understanding the data at a very, very micro level, we can make very, very smart decisions at the macro level.
Perfect. That makes total sense. And again, it's one of those things with some listeners like, well, I don't know how to even get started. Get it? I understand, but the main point we're trying to get across is making sure you can track where everything's coming from, and so you can make a better educated decision on your marketing dollars. That's really the basic of what we're talking about here. There's a lot of details and a lot of strategies that, hey, maybe I can cover that in future episodes. But no, you've been very enlightening talking to you. That's why I wanted to have you on here. Someone that does this and is in the trenches and does this day in and day out of marketing and doing it the right way. So that's why I wanted to have you on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun. And, on that last note, I'd like to also kind of counter what you said about, there's a lot of smaller operators out there, or maybe even single facility operators that said, well, I don't even know how to do this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous of them. It's easier to track one facility than it is 20, 40, 68, 100. It's actually easier. And if you start learning to do it when you're smaller, you can do it much better when you're bigger.
Oh, exactly. And just want to throw this out there. If people want to reach out to you, what's a good way to reach you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're interested in learning more about StoreSpace or third-party management services or even our Storage 360 platform, you can visit us at storagespace.com and just go up to the About navigation menu in the top right, and you'll find all the information you can in there. And if you want to reach out to me, all you got to do is search for me on LinkedIn, Stephen Sandecki. I am the guy with the ugly picture that will pop up.
Hey, it's not that ugly. I'm going to use that same ugly picture for your photo for this. So, hey, dude, that picture, you're going to send me a headshot. So, one of those two. Well, perfect. All right. I'll link it all up in the show notes for everybody as well. So, great. Well, thanks a lot, Stephen, for taking the time. It was fun to get to know you and get some more information.
It was great talking to you.
All right. Take care. Thanks for supporting the show. I want to let you know that we've just opened up our brand new free private Facebook group. There I'll be having some extra special content not found anywhere else. If you really want your facility to be a success in today's market, then this is going to be the place for you. You can request to join us at selfstoragecommunity.com or search for Self Storage Domination Community on Facebook.